ahead and start whenever you're ready.
Okay, so I will call the meeting to order in 7:01, and we will do a roll call. I have committee member Ann Banker.
Present.
Committee member Judy Carr.
Present.
Committee member Francisco Papalia.
You said present.
Present, okay. And then I have
Present. Yes, I did.
Mark Priven is not here tonight. And then we have committee member Kim Trainer.
Present.
Okay. And we have no minutes to approve. Does anyone have any announcements? Okay. And then now that there's no announcements, so is there any public comment? I see no hands raised, so I will move on. We don't have any presentations. So we're moving on to 6.1, introductions. I'd like to just go around and have everyone introduce themselves and explain who you are and how you got here. So we might as well just go in alphabetical order. Ann, do you want to start?
Sure. My name is Ann Benker. How I came here. Came to Albany in '87 with my husband, a master's program, social work at Berkeley. Got a job up there, worked there for 28 years, now retired. During work, did work research early on, hands-on kind of background, the nuts and bolts of research in the background. Did that for a number of years, and then got my degree up there as well, to working full time. And then a BA, and then in geography, and then went into more in the financial area on campus. Did some management work at a few organized research units for about 8 years, maybe 6 years, and then went into divisional work first at the office of the Vice Chancellor for Research. Was their budget director there for about 5 years, and then went over for a brief stint at the Dean of Humanities, Arts and Humanities, and budget officer there, but then retired. And now I've been retired for a number of years and been looking for ways of being more active. And I put my hat in, and they said, sure, come on in. So that was fun. Thank you to Aaron for that.
All right, Judy, do you want to go next?
Yeah, thanks. Like Member Banker, I am also a retired person, and I retired from a 35-year career in health services administration and nursing. I managed behavioral health and pediatric services at Kaiser and in Children's Hospital in Oakland, and basically retired about 4 years ago. But prior to my retirement, I became active in the city commissions, and I was a member of the Social and Economic Justice Commission for a number of years. And I'm proud to say that we made a lot of good steps and did some good things at SEJC. And my interest and my goal in becoming a member of, thank you to Janelle Gary for that appointment. My interest in my goal is to really learn more about city finances. I don't have a background in finance, but I do have a background in reading budgets and following them and reducing them because of my healthcare services administration experience. But I come informed from a social and economic justice perspective, and informed from an ability to learn and interest to learn. So that's who I am.
All right, Francisco?
Hi, I'm a I've been living in Albany since 1988 and got involved in city politics around 2006. I am a full-time realtor locally and been involved in the transfer of property and real estate in the East Bay for 30 years. So I'm kind of intimately aware of how property values have changed, and in particular, how individuals' taxes have changed and evolved, because it's part of my job to inform buyers that how their tax bill is put together. And I'm always somewhat surprised by the lack of understanding many people have about how their tax bill is put together, how bonds are raised and paid for. They know they have to pay X amount of dollars twice a year, and that sometimes is the sum of their knowledge and or interest in it unless something comes up for a vote. And so one of my goals as part of this group is to educate the public about how their taxes pay the budget, and so that they can make wise decisions and get involved in the city government, participate, and know that their participation affects good fiscal responsibility for the city. Too often I see in the public discussion people advocating for certain things without regard towards how it gets paid for, what are the consequences, what are the unintended consequences of their advocacy. And so, and I've always kind of looked forward to trying to figure out a way to bring in additional tax revenue to the city, not paid for necessarily by the homeowners, but by expanding the tax base in commercially and residentially, so that everyone's bill can go down. I got involved I was on the waterfront committee. It's now defunct, but I was a member of the waterfront committee for around 5-6 years. I was a chair of the committee for around 2 years. So I'm familiar with how meetings are run, but that was when it was all in person, and I kind of miss that. It's what's nice about these kinds of meetings is that it's easier for people to participate. And I hope that when we get further on down, that people will be participating in this committee, because we can individually and as a group pique their interest and educate them that their input is valued.
All right, thank you. And Kim?
Hi, Kim Trainer. I think I'm the relative newcomer to the city. I moved here in 1997, raised a family with my husband here. My kids both went through Albany schools, K through 12, and they're both in college now. One's away at school, and the other is doing remote online Zoom school from here, from Albany. My background in training is in accounting. I'm a CPA. I have experience in public accounting, started as an auditor with Price Waterhouse in San Francisco. Did that for a few years, and then worked in management for a labor relations board in San Francisco, or organization rather, in San Francisco. And then after that, I started my own company in 2005, Trainer Group. We do outsource accounting services, primarily for nonprofits in the Bay Area, and also in some other areas in California, but a lot of local involvement in nonprofit organizations. And this is my first time doing any sort of work with city government. So I'm looking forward to this and understanding city finances better, and I'm hoping that my experience can help out with budgeting and other issues facing the city.
Great, thank you. So I don't see any public comments on that. So we will move on to the organization of officers, and I'm going to turn it over to Anne because I don't want to mess it up. Anne, you're muted.
Of course, I tell everybody to stay muted, and I stay muted. So this is annually you would do this at the beginning of the year, but since this is your first meeting of a new committee, you would select a chair and a vice chair to, I guess, to manage the meeting or to run the meeting. Anyone can make a nomination, including yourself, or you can nominate anyone, including yourself. And then we take roll call vote to see the last nominated person will be voted on first and see if that passes majority. So if you like, please just.
I'd like to nominate Judy Kerr. I know that she's been on a committee and she knows how to run one, and maybe has had more experience even with these Zoom meetings. So I think that would be very helpful as we get started.
Any other nominations? Or if Judy, would you like to accept the nomination?
I will accept the nomination, but I'd like to nominate Kim Trainer as the vice chair. I recognize that my experience in finance is somewhat limited, and I think that having someone who has a CPA background, and I appreciate that, would be useful for the work of this committee.
Okay. We will take care of the chair part first, and then we can talk about vice chair. Any other nomination for chair? If not, let's do a roll call vote. Heather, this is to vote for Judy Kerr as the chair for this year.
All right, so Banker,
Yes.
Judy Kerr,
Yes.
Francesco Papalia,
Yes.
and Kim Trainer.
Yes.
Hey,
That carries.
Chair Kerr.
Okay, so let me pull up the agenda, and I believe we still need to vote for a vice chair. So nominations for vice chair. I nominate Kim Trainer with the aforementioned recommendations. Other nominations, please. Could we have a roll call?
Yes. Committee member Banker,
Yes.
committee member Kerr. Oh, no, you're chair.
Yes.
now. But yes, okay. Committee member Papalia
Yes.
and committee member Trainer.
Yes.
All right, so that carries. So now we have a chair and a vice chair.
And I'd like to thank Francisco Papalia for nominating me for chair. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm looking forward to working with all of us and getting the work plan, which is agenda item 6.3, tucked in. And really, from my work on the Social and Economic Justice Commission, I know that a work plan is instrumental in really guiding us in public comment and in guiding us through the work that we need to do. So I'm hoping that Heather Rowden, Finance Director from the city, can guide us a little bit through any recommendations or any information she has regarding the work plan from the City Council at this point. I have had no communication about what the expected work plan should be, but perhaps there is information I'm not aware of. So I look forward to hearing that.
Sure. So I can talk a little bit. There hasn't been any real conversation about, tangible work plan items at the council level. Just the resolution and discussion of making sure that the audit comes to you guys, and the council was very clear that they wanted the financial advisory committee to do a review of the budget before it was finally passed, the biennial budget that's coming up. Those are really the only two things that they've talked about. Francesco, do you want me to share that?
Yes, please.
We have now? Okay. So Francesco put together a document that kind of summarizes what the resolution says, the resolution that created the committee. And so it basically talks about making sure that you review all the financial items. Originally, I can tell you that the Financial Advisory Committee was created because, like it says here, the city treasurer moved from an elected to an appointed position. And so we still wanted to retain that citizen oversight. And the Financial Advisory Committee replaced the elected treasurer as that citizen oversight of the city's finances. So I'm not sure, Francesco, did you want to talk about
Sure. I'd like to just talk about it. So, because this is kind of what made me want to join the committee. Because it says the main thing is to enhance independent oversight and fiscal transparency. That's what I mean. And facilitate government accountability, sound and transparent management of city financial resources. Right? I mean, this is the kind of, for me, kind of inspirational reason why I wanted to be part of this committee. Now, I don't know what review of non-administrative finance policies would be, but I'd like to know about that. Cities fund balance policy and cities investment policies and make recommendations to the city regarding investments to ensure maximum returns. I'm looking forward to have some of my co-members of this committee educate me regarding this, because they might have a better perspective on it and a more experience. Development of long-term financial plan for the city, a review, and so it seems clear that one of our roles is to review the annual budget and management letter. There is it, yeah, and recommendations related to the annual audit. I mean, I just don't think that I hope to be able to understand this and be able to deliver things to the public in a way that they can understand it. And I think that's a crucial part of our job. Now, here's the part that I'm particularly interested in. Review and make recommendations on all proposed bonds and other debt instruments to the city, issued to the city, and may consider tax measures and other revenue opportunities as directed by the council. These are things that come onto the ballot. Having an informed perspective about how our taxes are raised, how they are, who pays them, what is fair and equitable. I am acutely aware of the lack of equity within our city, where some people are paying a lot of the share of the bond measures. Okay, and then it says meet on a quarterly basis. We got that. Extra biennial budget planning. That seems to be the thing that we need to be focused on in the very near future. Quarterly basis. Yes, biennial budget. And I guess you're going to have a plan for us to have one more meeting before the budget goes to the city council. And then it says here, finance committee to advise the city council on financial matters, including but not limited to budget audits, long-term financial planning, and financial sustainability. I mean, so I see this as kind of the outline of a plan, of a work plan. If this council wants to modify this, but this is kind of my opinion is that this was pretty specific and clear, the directive from the city council when this committee was instituted. And all of this that I put together was cut and pasted directly from the ordinance, and I eliminated what I thought was, would have been confusing information, or just, whereases and whereas this and whereas that. I tried my best to follow clearly what was written in the ordinance. That's all.
Thanks, Francesco. That's really, really helpful. And I personally feel that one of the things that can be helpful to us as a committee is to review this, not just tonight, but every time we meet, so that our mission and our goals are really clearly in front of us. And we and the public, which is really the opportunity that we have to bring public commentary in front of us as a committee. I really think that focusing us on our primary charge as established by the city council is an important thing to do. So thanks very much for putting this together. And I'd like to welcome other committee members to discuss their thoughts on what we might want to establish as our work plan within the context of what Francisco has presented. Francesco, you keep correcting me till I get it right. Thank you. Mr. Papalia has presented.
Chair Kerr, would you like me to keep this up while you discuss? Okay.
I guess I'll just make a couple of comments on this. I think this is just really an excellent summary of our mandate as part of this committee, and helps give a lot of extra information about some of the things that we really should be looking at. I came into this meeting with thinking about the audit and the budget approval. But I really do like a lot of these other items, particularly like the additional revenue analysis for potential revenue for the city and things like that. So I think this is a really great framing document.
Well, I am all ears. I have a lot to learn. I would like to, so I'll be listening a lot more than talking probably for a while, to tell you the truth. I really want to study this more. Thank you, Francesco. This is really helpful for me, actually. The whereas, not here. I too am excited about the idea of looking at other revenue sources. I've always been curious about city financials. They're an unfamiliar world to me in some ways. I too can look at budgets fairly well and can produce budgets, but this not on a city level. So it'll be interesting to understand the revenue streams and to become more educated and learn at first. So like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot of listening, I think, early on, and speak up when I feel I have something to offer. I hope that will be okay with everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Any other comments from the committee members? I do have one final observation, and that is that the charge of the Finance Advisory Committee goes a bit beyond, it seems to me, what the charge of the city treasurer was, in that we are now inviting public commentary on the entire budgetary process for the city, whereas the city treasurer, who was an elected official, was the provided oversight to long-term financial planning and financial sustainability, but not, as far as I'm aware, and please correct me, Heather, if I have this incorrect, but not so much involved in budgeting audits. So we have an opportunity, and I personally see this as our charge, to invite public comment on what we're doing as a city with our tax dollars. Thank you, Francisco, for advising us about how these tax dollars really are the primary issue of our committee, how we're spending our limited and important resources. So with that, I'd like to suggest that Heather and yeah, go ahead.
So there's one other issue that came up
Yeah.
from a friend of mine who worked on the census, and I'm not sure how to work this in or not, but she was informed by someone very astute manager in the census that University Village may have suffered we may have been a severe undercount during the census because so many of the residents were not there. I talked to someone who has lived there in the past, and they told me that that place traditionally has a waiting list to get in. And so if there is a less than a full capacity count for University Village in the census, then that can affect us as a city, because there are certain bond measures and other allocations of resources from bonds, from the county, from the state, on a per capita basis. And the county will suffer from it if there's an undercount, because county gets money based on a per capita basis. The state gets representation and information. So whatever that undercount is, it can't, my understanding is there could be a way of remedying it in order to fix that undercount. And I'm not sure who can handle that or who can look into that, but I have someone I can refer you to, Heather, and if this is the right way to do it, or should the city manager do it?
Thank you. Are you suggesting that would be part of our work plan to monitor the accuracy of the U.S. Census?
Either potentially that, yes, that or to yes, or have this bring that to council. That's not part of our plan, but bring it to the attention to the council and see whether they wanted to go through it themselves in a way, or would our, through us or through, Heather, be able to do that, because they can do it more efficiently than we could. But
so we just need to make sure that we're staying on the agendized topics. So if this is part of the work plan, then that's, yeah.
Yeah, so that to suggest that as well, if that's but my suggestion would be to bring that to attention to the council to see if they want us to add that or whether they want to take it on directly.
I think that in order for us to do that with the council, we would need to incorporate it into our work plan. And I'd like to suggest that there might be a way to do that. And that would be that one of the charges of the Finance Advisory Committee is to advise the City Council on the accuracy of data that is input into the city budget revenues. If we don't have right numbers and we're not receiving accurate counts on our residents anywhere, not just the village, but in any aspect of our citizenship, then we need to keep a kind of a sort of a thumb on that information. I'm not sure exactly how that'll play, but I appreciate Member Papalia suggesting this, and it is important. It falls into the broader perspective of, well, are our revenues correct? I mean, are our tax dollars collections correct? Are we getting the money from the state and the tax advisory and the distribution of sales taxes? I bought a car in San Leandro. Was the sales tax I bought in San Leandro actually making it to Albany? Those are questions that I think are broadly within the scope of our work, but when we look at the specific charge from the city council, budgeting audits, long-term financial planning, and financial sustainability, I think we can kind of add those parenthetically, if that would be the wish of the committee.
I do think it's important to understand has anybody heard, has any city staff heard about census drop numbers, or just anybody beyond Francesco's?
So again, I think that that's not the agendized topic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's okay. We can bring it back.
We were talking about whether to add it, so that was my comment. I mean, it's just, do we have any data to go on currently to suggest that the numbers have?
I do know that we just got census data, so.
Okay, got it. Okay.
I didn't even know census data was in, so that's interesting. I'll take a look at that census data, and I think that we should sort of add this as something that is important for the Financial Advisory Committee to be aware of. I mean, are our revenues matching the expectations? Are we getting the money that we think we should, or is there
I would agree
an issue?
in that regards? Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted. Yeah.
So the work plan then would include a review of the budget, both revenues and expenses. And the revenue side would be accurate measurements of census within the city, accurate income from tax sources. I think there are something on the order of 9 or 10 different places where we collect taxes, and we want to make sure that those are being audited in the annual auditing process and the CAFR process. So those are all things that are very important, and I think will be included in our work plan. So thank you for that. Any other commentary?
Just one more, which is this may have. I'm pleased to hear that we just got the data. There may be a time limit about the approval of the census data. So that's all. I just wanted us to be aware that if you don't appeal it within a certain time frame, it may be too late. So if there's an appeal process or a recalculation process that gets done, then it may be time sensitive.
Can we go to public comment on this?
Sure. I don't see any hands raised. If the public does have a comment, they can raise their hand. I don't see anything.
And back to the committee, any other commentary, both on the question of the overall work plan being essentially the final paragraph of the really good work that has been presented to us by Member Papalia, on that, or the issue of closer monitoring of revenues as it relates to accurate measurement of the census and timelines on that item. Any other comment from the committee members?
Not from me.
I'm fine, thank you.
Member Papalia, any other comment?
No.
Okay. So I think, Heather, do we have enough of an agreement on what our work plan will eventually be framed to be, and you and I can work on it together, and then present it to the committee next round?
Yep, I can start to draft something, and
we can throw it back and forth a few times, and be sure to include the comments that we had tonight And
We want to put it on the next agenda.
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
All right, let me go to my other screen and find out where we are on the agenda. We've done 6.3, we've done 6.2, we've done 6.3, we've done 6.3. Okay, future agenda items. So 7, we have a proposal that we will review a final work plan from the comments that we've had tonight from committee members. And we haven't had any public comments, but we will welcome public comments through email contact or any other approaches that we have. And then I will work with Heather. Heather, would you like to run it by Vice Chair Trainer as well to make sure that we have enough voices involved? What do you think?
I think we can do that.
Okay, and Member Trainer, are you up for that?
Sure, that's fine. That's fine with me.
Okay, great. Great. And then we'll bring that back to the next meeting, which will be May 5th, 2021 at 7 p.m. I don't know that we'll need to do Zoom training, so I think what time should we log on for that meeting?
I will be missing that meeting.
Oh, well, can we send you the agenda and can you send us your comments ahead so that we have your input? It would be very valuable.
Do my best. Yeah, I'm leaving the 4th, but yeah, that would be
Okay.
helpful.
Okay. And do we know if we have, well, we don't know about Member Priven. We'll have him when we have him. Yeah.
He should be here. This was the only one. He had a
Okay.
prior commitment.
Okay. So we'll attach the work plan to the agenda minutes, which will be published, I think, a week before. Am I right? Roughly a week before the meeting.
They'll definitely be available by the Friday before the meeting.
Friday before the meeting. Okay. So the Friday before May 5th, Cinco de Mayo will meet and May Day will have meeting. So,
Question?
yes, go ahead.
I mean, Heather, can you give us on the next agenda, isn't we going to have the biennial, in whatever that is, the biennial review, audit or review?
The biennial budget won't be available yet. That will be your special meeting in June. But I do plan on bringing the current year quarterly update because that is your regularly scheduled meeting day.
So you're going to have the quarterly, could you explain what that would be, what that encompasses?
Yep, so I present, it's just like I present to the council once a quarter. It shows what the budget that was passed and where we are compared to that budget.
So that will then be presented to council on the Monday following our meeting.
Ideally, because of how everything is falling, I'm going to present it to council 2 days before I present it to you guys, just because I want them to see where we are currently before they see the first draft of the budget, which happens their next meeting, that study session. They have a study session, then the budget comes to you for review. But because of how that falls, normally you would see the quarterly update before they do. But because of how tight the meeting schedule is right now, unfortunately, I have to bring it to them 2 days before you guys get it. But
if that council meeting generates public commentary and there is overflow public commentary, how would we act on that? Or would we? Or would we just simply hear it and it would be a public forum?
it would be a public forum.
Will we have the opportunity to see the quarterly budget update a couple days in advance of the meeting, or we just see it that day? Okay.
Yeah, we'll be able to see it as soon as it's posted for the council.
Right. It'll be part of the council agenda packet for their May 3rd meeting.
Okay.
May 3rd, yeah. And it'll be posted on April 30th, no later.
It's posted, I think, yeah, Friday.
Friday's.
Wednesday.
But I thought it was Wednesday, but I was like, oh, I'm saying it wrong.
Well, we'll see it before.
Right. So if, so on, I mean, we should kind of, we can all, if we want to, observe the city council meeting, which you're going to have a fairly full presentation of what this is, it's going to come to us. So on that, and 3 days before that, the information will be made available online as part of the city council agenda. So we can review what we're going to be looking at on the 5th on April 30th, the 3 days before the meeting.
Yeah, for that meeting, excuse me.
Bless you.
And I'm saying this to kind of maybe the new people on the committee who haven't been part of this process. And we're trying to reiterate how, so agendas need to be made public 72 hours before a meeting. That includes hours. So, and as part of that agenda, then reports like that Heather will be presenting to the city council should be on that and live. So we could log into the city council agenda, look at the link, look at the data, review it, and be prepared ahead of time if we want to observe the city council meeting. And then now I have a question that if we do that, if certain members of this group do that, and what is and Anne, is Anne still here? Yes. So Anne, can you give us some protocol advice? Like since we're I'm trying to do catch up. I think we all want to get going and understand stuff. So if we are watching the city council meeting and this is all made public, and can we ask questions and if we want to participate and ask question in public comment, should we say that we are just doing this as an individual or as a member of the financial advisory committee? And is there, and so if I correct, understand that we're not that more than 3 people can do this and not be in violation because it's all been agendized in the city council?
So yes, you can definitely participate in the city council meeting as a member of the public, as any member of the public. There are previous time when advisory body member would attend the city council meeting and would speak at public comment time. And they would say, I'm a member of the financial advisory committee, but speaking for myself, because you're not sent to city council representing the committee. So you're speaking for yourself.
Okay.
And in terms of discussing, you can make comment as long as you guys don't discuss amongst yourself to violate the Brown Act.
Good. Thank you.
And I think just in the interest of clarity and timing, when it comes to our meeting, I would prefer a summarized report, Heather, as opposed to a full report that you're going to be doing at the city council meeting. If other committee members feel differently, I will make an effort to listen to the city council meeting and listen to your full report. But there's very little that we're going to be able to do as a committee because the presentation's already been made. And I understand that's likely the last time that will be the order of events. So let's not belabor the fact that you've already made the report and just have a summary and an agenda item, certainly to receive any further public comment, because that is our main mission, is to hear from the public, and limit it to that, if that makes sense to everybody. Okay. Great.
I'm sorry, when is that city council meeting? That particular one to look at the budget, the extended view?
So the budget update, the current budget year quarterly update is going to the council on May 3rd and then to you guys on the 5th. The study session for the next biennial budget is on the council agenda for May 17th.
So okay, that's great. I will be here on the 5th, on the 3rd, so I can watch that for sure. That'll be helpful for me.
So just to clarify the timeline, Heather, we also will not have had a presentation from you about the budget update at that meeting, right? You will not have that ready for us at that point.
The biennial budget?
Yeah.
No, and that was done intentionally to hear from council about what they are looking for from you guys in response to the budget. So I can bring more narrowed down, items to the Financial Advisory Committee for review in the budget based on what council is looking for.
Would it make sense for us to present our work plan to them briefly at that meeting then, and they could then amend our work plan with the oversight of or the input of the budget that you're presenting?
I will have to see if I can get all that work done in.
No, I know it's a big order. I know it's a big ask, but if we can get our work plan approved at the next meeting, even if it's just a very basic outline, and then the council will have a presentation from you, and they can then give us further guidance as to what they want us to look at specifically. It would be useful to, I think in terms of work, it would make it flow.
I will see if I can get I'll see if I can get it together for the meeting on the 17th. It would be presented after the budget study session, but I think it's on the same day. So
yeah. And I don't envision a complicated work plan. I just think it's going to be pretty basic. Okay. Where are we on the agenda? We've talked about future agenda items. Any other committee members have other future agenda items that they might want to add at this point?
Yeah.
And I'd like to invite the public, if they have future agenda items, if they would like to also weigh in at this point.
I do see a hand raised. Give me just 1 second. Let me share the timer. Oh boy. And, oh no, I find participants. Learning curve. Okay.
Hi, good evening, Albany Financial Committee. How's everybody doing? So could we please get a future agenda item regarding the Albany Sugar Sweet and Tax Beverage general fund? Is there some way to not make it a general fund and make it a specific fund? Because to be frankly honest with you, I'm kind of tired at this point of every single Albany commission or something wants to use the money from the Albany's Sugar Sweetened Tax Beverage general fund, $300-something thousand a year for Albany. When the voters voted for it, the money's supposed to be going toward water filling stations, education for Albany schools, for health, don't drink sodas, drink water, eat healthy, education, water. everybody wants to use the money for crossing guards and street signs and all these things completely unrelated. So I mean, we want to use the general with the sugar sweetened tax beverage like it's a piggy bank for everybody just to go free for all. You know, that's why we elect politicians, and because we trust them that their money's going to be used correctly for what we voted on. And so for as long as the Albany Sugar Sweetened Tax Beverage Fund is a general fund, for water filling stations on every block on Solano. That's more of water filling stations for all the parks in Albany. That's more water bottle filling stations for the schools. $300,000, but you don't want to they want to use the money to put in a speed bump hypothetically, or something, you know. So, future agenda item is let's get this Albany Sugar Sweetened Tax Beverage to switch from a general fund to a specific. That way the money's used specifically for education, water filling stations, something related to sugar sweetened tax beverage, because people are getting taxed on soda because it's unhealthy. So that's why they're getting taxed to kind of teach you not to buy it, you know, because you're going to be spending extra. If you want to buy it, it's going to cost you money. So future agenda item, please switch this from a general fund to a specific fund, please. Let's weigh the pros and cons. Thank you.
Are there any other, thank you, Mr. Pinguelo from Social and Economic Justice Commission for your commentary. Are there any other comments from the public at this time?
Don't see any other hands raised.
Okay, it's back to the committee then. And do we have any further discussion from the committee on any of the comments from the public or any other items? Mr. Papalia, you're muted. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So thank you, Jeremiah, for bringing this up. This is a classic example of people maybe not understanding how things are approved and how they taxes are voted on and what they can be used on. So the issue that he brings up is that my understanding is the soda tax was passed with a 50% plus one approval, which means it can be a general fund. If it is a specific tax for these items like he was hoping, it would have to be a 2/3 vote. So his request, the only way that we can, the city is powerless, if I'm, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, to designate this for a specific use, all of the monies, because it was not voted that way. It was voted as a general fund, 50 plus one.
Thank you for that. Heather, do you have anything to add to that, or do we need to refer this to the city attorney for further clarification?
No, he is correct that because it was specifically written as a general tax with the voters suggesting that it be used in a certain way. It is a general tax and only had to be passed with more than a majority vote versus a special tax, which requires a 2/3 vote.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And thank you for to Jeremiah Pinguelo for the comment and for the question. And thank you for your wisdom on that, member Apalia. Thank you. I don't see any further agenda items, so I am at a point where I believe we have a future agenda, or at least some suggestions for future agenda, and I am at this point ready to adjourn the meeting at 56 minutes, which may be an all-time record for any public meeting in the city of Albany. I don't know that we can meet that record anytime in the future, but we may not even want to try. So I am hereby adjourning this evening's meeting of the Finance Advisory Committee. Thank you all.